It's HW here. HW in the house, drinking the diet root beer. But we got a new brand. Trying Barks today. That's some good stuff. Barks. Talking about Kemper rumors, new Kemper rumors, but before we do that, can I show you a tone? Because I got this new MK2, this new Mark II, excuse me. I got to start calling it Mark II. Man, it feels like a new piece of gear. It's the same, I'm playing the same stuff. So first, let me turn this reverb off. Because I had this huge reverb on. It was like the Cirrus reverb or whatever. And let me turn that tube screamer off. And let me return my guitar to the neutral position. Let me show you the double chorus. I just saw Dan Huff do this. Listen to that. Just beautiful. So what I'm doing there is using these new Mark II effect slots, the fixed slots. I'm using the vintage chorus up front, and then I'm adding in a pitch shifter after it, and they're both running just kind of light. And I'll do a whole video on that in the future. But anyway, that's what I'm doing there, big reverb. And then what I love is being able to put that on. And then we got something really special going on, because you throw on a tube screamer. That's cool, right? But these pickups are actually the GOAT Trons out there. If you don't have, shout out to Curtis at Lambertone, because if you don't have the Lambertrons and you're playing some other Tron pickup, I've tried them all. Is that true? Yes, I've tried. I can't think of another, like a Tron I haven't really tried. I mean, I've tried all the Gretsch stuff. I tried all the, I'm not going to name them, but you know the boutique brands that make the Tron stuff. I've tried them. Okay. They're all good. They're all good. These are better. Let me show you why. I've never found another pickup that did this. I'm going to put it on the bridge, and I'm going to show you what that sounds like. It's going to sound good. Boom, right? Okay. These things have so much clarity that I'm able to take full control of the tone knob, right? So I'm going to go all the way to 0. And now it's going to be like this. And I can play that. Now it's pretty, effecty. It's throaty, it's wah-ish, But if I move that up to 3, right, now I get. Whoa, wait a minute. We got a light fuzz? Is that a wah? Those are warm, throaty. So before everyone says, HW, I always download your stuff and it doesn't sound like your guitar. It's, hey man, what am I, go buy a Tron, it'll sound, go buy a Lawler, go buy a Lambertron, it'll sound just like that. I don't know what to tell you. But then you put that verb on. You're throwing that verb on. That is, to me, I like it. That's a, like, special sauce, man. That's special sauce. Anyway, HW, is that the point of today's video? It is not the point of today's video. Here's the deal, guys. We got some new rumors and some new things we can confirm. Good news is, on the gear page, Kemper has confirmed that new profiles made with this new Kemper tech, this new profiling tech that's not out yet, right? I'm waiting to get some more instruction from them on how I can help out. It looks like they're working with third-party vendors. And so hopefully I'd love to have some stuff for everybody to try, you know, when we can, for the new Mark II stuff. I of course, want to make a bunch of content about it, how to make profiles, how it's different. Let's make it on the Mark I tech. Let's do it on the Mark II, and let's do side by side. And we'll do all that. Let's listen to the amp. Let's listen to Mark I. Let's listen to Mark II with the new advanced tech, you know. But what we can confirm is this: the new profiles created will run on the Mark I, but they'll run with the Mark I resolution. So I guess we can think of that as like a standard definition, high definition type thing. So we're not losing anything. And I wonder if even the EQ and the meaning I bet what's happening is there's not going to be, maybe there'll be some differences in sound or feel or whatever, but the new files will run on the old thing. They'll probably, what I would imagine is they just have some sort of conversion on the way in. Now, this is speculation on my part. One of the things that's great about Kemper is they have changed some of the file names, KIPR, KPA, KPP, over the years. And sometimes people will message me and say, HW, I tried to input, you know, install one of the profile packs I bought, and it gave me a corrupted error. And I always tell people this as a pro tip: if you ever have a problem importing something into your Kemper, just stop. Don't. Get out Rig Manager, drag it into Rig Manager, because there used to be like a cab converter IR thing. They don't have that anymore because Rig Manager converts everything you drag into it to like the new format. So if you drag an old file, a really old, like I made this the first year Kemper came out file, into Rig Manager, and then you drag it back out, you see it's in the new format. So if you ever have problems bringing something into your Kemper, I always tell people, drag it to the local library first. Drop it on that Rig Manager first. Then from Rig Manager's local library version, now pull that into your Kemper. You will have no problems at all. Constantly send emails trying to tell people how to do that. But what I'm imagining could be happening is these new files that are created, they'll be somehow converted to maybe just a little lower resolution or whatever, something that's not as DSP intense to play. I really don't know. I don't think that's it, but basically, I guess we have a standard def, high def type thing now. And so if you're on a Mark I think this means you haven't lost anything. We're going to have, and it's great for content creators like me, because if I have to, you know, I don't have to, but if I did have to, I would be making 2 sets of everything for the Kemper, you know, Mark II and Mark I. But it looks like going forward, I can jump to the Mark II tech. I can create that stuff, and then I can you'll be able to play it on everything, right? I'm going to support the Kemper community, you know, Mark I, Mark II, with all of it, you know, and because of that, you're probably not going to see me putting out a bunch of stuff that's like, you have to have Mark II to play this. Because I think there's a bunch of stuff that's going to sound good. I really don't think we're going to get to the point where anybody's going to be able to tell, is this my Dumble, you know, profile like I'm playing here with the double chorus. I don't think we're going to get to the point where it's like, I can tell that's a Mark II. But there is this other rumor going around, and I'm not really sure if it's true or not. I see people saying it, and it made its way into the Sonic Drive studio video. And I watched that guy's channel. He's got some good stuff. Basically, there's a rumor going around out there from, I guess, I haven't seen a source that's reliable on this, but we've had other things leak from non-reliable sources. Sometimes leaks, it's not a source that you've heard of or whatever. It can just be a person leaking something. They've said that the training for the profiles, for the Mark II profiles, this new advanced profiling, is going to take place on the computer. This is interesting to me. This is very interesting to me. I heard some people say, so what, your Kemper Mark II just acts like a big dongle, I don't know if that's going to be the case, that the Mark II acts like a big dongle, or maybe some of the processing takes place. I mean, definitely it would probably be the case that the Mark II is going to maybe have software that enables the computer to do it. What I mean by that is this. Unless they go full Tonex, where Tonex, you download a piece of software and you use the software to really control and create the Tonex stuff. I don't think they're going to go that route. And here's why. One of the issues with Tonex is when you don't have a master sort of piece of hardware, you have to control the ins and outs. And has been really frustrating for someone like me, who has been very thoughtful about the levels of this whole process. And from the very beginning concluded, the only proper level you could have, the correct level for Tonex or anything, or any NAM, whatever, would always be the level of your guitar. You have to send in the proper level that the amp would see. If you send in any other level, you now have to take some other calibration step somewhere else. Unfortunately, that was not everyone's thought. That wasn't made clear to everyone in the Tonex world. So I'll tell you what's happening in the Tonex world. You now have this thing where everyone goes, how should I set the sensitivity of my input on the pedal? Because it's variable. And now you have some people going, I say set it to 0, I say set it to +8, I say set it to this. I've always set it to my guitar's level and made sure that the level coming in and out was the level it would get from the amp directly. And so unfortunately what's happened is some people didn't do that, and Tonex later adjusted the pedal to default to those settings. But you have all these makers out there who go, no, I think you should be at this level, this level, this level, this way. And they're not willing to change at this point, right? If everyone would just agree, we could get... The reason I say all that is, I actually think giving people, I'm telling you, down the road, we're going to be very happy that the unit, the Kemper Mark II, controls the in and out level that's sent, and that it knows the in and out level, because then it can adjust the sensitivity when it does its thinking. The problem is the Tonex doesn't know if you have the amp on 3 or on 7, and so it doesn't know, is that thing distorting super high or not, and so it just makes a model of what it gets. And if you have your calibration wrong, your LUFS wrong, you'll end up with something cleaner or dirtier when you go plug it in later. And so I think for ease of use and for the sort of, in the Tonex community, half the threads are, where should I set this thing? In the NAM community, half the threads are, where should I set this thing? Or hey, what's this? What's that? What's this? And so I'm working on making sure all my packs say what they are. But I'm glad we don't have to do that for the Kemper. And so I hope that even if we do this computer thing, which I'm not sure, it could all be just rumors. If that's the case, it's very good actually that we would be using the Kemper to do the sends and receives. And then maybe if the Kemper passes on that information, maybe via USB, to the computer to actually do the training or thinking, if that's the case, that's a really good system. I would say that's probably the best system you could have. If you used a piece of gear that could gather all of the intelligence for you gather all the data for you, and then it could pass it off maybe via USB to your computer to do the heavy lifting of calculating and training. That would be very, very good, in my opinion. Just my thoughts. I don't know if that's real or not, by the way. It may be that the new unit has enough power to do it all, itself. Now, I will tell you one thing I remember. I remember years ago asking Kemper, will you ever make a player unit? Because this is what people were requesting. Will you ever make a player unit that just plays profiles? Maybe it can be way cheaper and way smaller because, maybe doing the training or something is cost effective, is too much. However Kemper was sort of figuring out how to make a Kemper profile, is there a way we could strip that out and just have enough DSP or power to play a profile? We can get a little player. Now, obviously, since then, the player ended up coming out, right? But I remember a comment that was made to me one time at NAMM, and I was talking to one of the engineers, and he was like, yeah. He said, the thing about that is, once you build in the capability to play it, it's not like we're going to strip out so much. The point was like this. Once you have the ability to play a profile and run all these effects, you're really not going to save anything by ripping out the ability to make a profile. And so I guess that was kind of like the take back then, where they were like, look, we can dumb down this player unit, but look what they did with the player. It can create profiles. So, and that probably makes sense, right? If we think about running IRs and think about reverb algorithms, these things are probably a lot more intense to run at one time than maybe it is to say, okay, give me 30 minutes or give me 20 minutes, right? I mean, the Tonex stuff, on a MacBook can take an hour and a half to train an advanced profile or an advanced capture. On other systems, it can go way faster, but that advanced thing is going to be long. It's not going to be a minute or 2 minutes like a Kemper or a QC would be. So, I really don't know or understand how the DSP is going to work if most of the brains and thinking are going to be in the Kemper in a computer. Nobody does at this point. It's all conjecture, but that is kind of the latest in the Kemper rumors. I'll let you know what I can, but I think pretty soon here, when all this stuff starts getting rolling, I'm going to have to be mum's the word. Once I'm looking at stuff and seeing it, I can't speculate anymore on stuff when I've got something in front of me. But until then, man, go ahead and, play your Mark 1s and your Mark 2s and enjoy it. And I still think the Kemper just has some of the best effects, just really best sounding stuff. So that's the latest.